Wow. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is that time again for a Rockstar interview. And it's great to see you. Great to be here. I'm Sherri Johnson with Sherri Johnson Coaching, and we have a very special guest, new friend of mine I just met recently, Kendall Bonner out of Tampa, Florida, with Remax Capital Realty. And Kendall, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's exciting to be here with you, Sherri. I really am humbled and very grateful. Thank you for including me.
Well, you are from the minute I met you, I was attracted to your energy. I was attracted to your forward thinking is an understatement. The fact that you have instituted so many modern technologies people haven't even heard of yet. So we're going to talk about one of those today, which is video, and how our agents can increase their use of video, get over this, first of all, what do I do? What kind of video am I going to do?
Yeah.
Before we jump into the questions, I do want to just share with everybody, this will be made part of the You Rock podcast with Sherri Johnson Real Estate Podcast. So if you haven't subscribed to that yet, we've had over 3,500 downloads. I'm so proud of that. Zach Shull, my awesome producer, and just all of you that are sharing it and giving us feedback, and it's just been very wildly successful. This interview will be there as well as on YouTube. And please feel free to ask questions of Kendall today. We've got 103 people excited about talking to you today that pre-registered in the last 2 days. So that's pretty cool. And I have to say too, that I have to start by saying I was lucky enough to meet you, Kendall. I have to share the story. To meet you we did an RISMedia webinar earlier this year, I think in March. And you were one of the panelists. Yeah. And it was modern technology, how to become a modern agent, I think was the title of it. And you were one of, the top 2 or 3 panelists that we had. Crazily, okay, I knew that you were in Tampa, and I was visiting my parents in Tampa, and we texted each other the night before, and I think I said something like, "Hey, I'm in Wesley Chapel," and you were like, "I'm in Wesley Chapel," and I said, "Do you live in this one neighborhood?" Freaking crazy, this is so weird. And you said, "Yeah, I live in this neighborhood." So here you are, a couple streets over from my parents' house. And even before the rehearsal, I think that the interview was the next day or something like that. It was that week. And we had lunch. And then the next day we did the live webinar for, 500 or whatever people that were on there. So just such a small world. So we not only met virtually, we met in person. We had a great lunch, great conversation. And we said to each other that day, do you want to be on, our podcast? And we hadn't even launched ours yet. And we started sharing about those ideas and collaborating, which is what I love about you. You are an industry leader out in front is all I think about is all of the great tools you're bringing to your agents. So tell everybody a little bit about your company. It's Remax Capital Realty in Tampa, Florida. How'd you get into it, and what's the size and scope of your office? And then we'll jump into the content about video.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you again for having me. So a little bit about us and our background. I am also an attorney, and my husband and I met in law school, and I never wanted to actually be a lawyer, but it was one of those things where my mom said, JD, MD, PhD, pick one. So that's how I ended up in law school. And then, of course, met my husband, and we're off to the races practicing law. Like I said, I'm licensed here in Florida. And in 2011, I decided I was bored, and I thought real estate was fun and interesting. And I think I got into it the way a lot of us do, thinking that, I could do it part-time. It would just be something I would do on the side. It would be like, I didn't really intend to give up practicing law at that time. But within 30 days of practice or learning everything I could from my brokerage at that time that I was working with, I decided I wanted to be a full-time real estate agent. And that was the only way to get into real estate, was to be a full-time professional and fully commit. And so I did that for about 3 years. I was an independent agent, had a small team. And then Remax reached out to me in 2000, I think in 2013. I'd only been a licensee for just under 3 years, and said, hey, you're a top producer. We'd like for you to open a brokerage. I thought it was a prank call, so I never returned the call. But they had a good sales team because they kept after it. And they finally got a hold of me, and I started to explore the option of opening a brokerage. My husband and I were looking to transition because we had owned our own law firm. And he was getting burned out and didn't want to do that anymore. So I was like, okay, well, we can start another business together. And so in 2014, we opened up our first location, and that was in Lutz. And started as an office of one, just me. I had more staff than agents at the time. And then we quickly grew, and now we have about 50 agents. We have 3 locations. I have one in each county, serving Hillsborough County, which is Tampa, Pasco County, and we have an office in St. Pete as well, so Pinellas County. And so we have agents spread out all over the place, serving the greater Tampa area. And it's just been an honor and a pleasure and a privilege to work with each and every one of them. The community that we've built, I love them. I'm very grateful.
And what an unbelievable story of success. You just said I had more staff than agents, right?
Yeah.
You have 3 offices.
Yes.
And over 50 agents. It's not easy to do. And you did that, and it's really fantastic. So, and you're continuing to grow, I'm sure. So we are tapping into Kendall's really out in front. When I say modern, this is beyond, this is not like getting an iPad. We're talking about how to make educational marketing videos that will set you apart, that are going to set you apart, get you business.
Yes.
And make you the rock star agent that you are in a world where now video is so available. Yeah. And it's such an underutilized tool that, I was on TV in college. I was a news anchor for, 4 years of college, and I loved being on live TV. So being in front of the camera for me is not a big deal. Most of the agents, though, are like, I just can't do it. And so we're going to get through, it's video 101. What types of videos should I shoot? How do I start doing them? What's the content? Yeah. And we'll start first by, Kendall, tell our viewers why video is so important, and then launch into the types of video that they can start doing that's easy.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've written so much about this, and I've done so many videos about this. Sometimes I have to slow myself back down and start, from step one. And, I would say one of the reasons why video is so hugely important is because, our whole goal in sales is to build know, like, and trust, right? And a lot of times building that know, like, and trust is happening with strangers most of the time, people that have never met us. And then also too, I think even reminding the people that do know us, our sphere of influence, that we are a resource, an authority, and a community ambassador, right? And because that's how people come to look to us as experts in the real estate industry. You want to establish yourself as, like I said, a resource, an authority, and a community ambassador. And, with that, when we break down the fundamentals of communication, another piece of that is, the visual, right? So it's like not just the words that come out of your mouth or the content that you're sharing, but it's your tone. And then also people will connect to you visually. And so that's one of the reasons why videos become so powerful, right? I mean, think about all of our stars, think about our athletes, everything that connects us to them it comes from us watching them on TV, right? And so as we get used to watching them on TV, it's like we've never met them, but we know who they are, right? And we create fandom out of those relationships that we've built by watching them perform their jobs, right? So you have the opportunity now as, an individual in your communities to create a bit of fandom and create an opportunity to build these relationships with people that you may not have ever met, but they're watching. And I mean, I've had stories. I have a couple of really funny stories. I was in a Chipotle once getting lunch with my husband, and a stranger walks up to me and is like, "Hey, Kendall, blah, 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 blah," just starts talking to me. "I want to join your office." And I was like, at first I thought that he had the wrong person, right? Because I was like, "I don't know you. We don't know each other." Because it was just such a random place. But then
Yeah.
it turned out he did know me, because he had watched my videos online and determined from those videos that he wanted to, set a meeting with me and meet with me. And so it was a really kind of neat, cool experience knowing that my videos were making an impact on other people and helping them, even though I had personally not yet spoken to him. Right. So it was like I was building that know, like, and trust before the relationship was even in my mind, even before I knew it had been established. Right.
It's unbelievable, and it is true. I like how you said, and I've heard this, and it's so true. We have relationships with our favorite people, actors, actresses, sports people, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
and it's a real psychological phenomenon that we have a relationship with them even though they've never met us,
Right.
and you are, you become sort of real estate famous if you capitalize on using, this vehicle, and what other better way for them to see your magneticism and to
Yeah.
see how much you care, how genuine and authentic you are, than
Yeah.
to see that live with your tone of voice, your body language, your confidence. I wanna include and mention that Kendall writes for Inman News. You've probably seen a lot of her stories. She is a normal, regular contributor. I mean, she is like not normal, but I mean, like, you are a regular
I
contributor
know.
on for Inman News, which is a big deal. And you've won, awards. You've spoken at their conventions and at their conferences, rather. And so you really are an expert on this, and that's again a whole nother reason why you're here. So we have this thing, I think you keep repeating, build the know, like, and trust, right? So we want people to know us, to like us, to trust us, and then choose us. And when you talk about, I love your whole segment on what types of videos agents can start doing, whether they're educational,
Yeah.
one-on-one with individual clients, things that they post onto YouTube. Kind of expand on some of those, would you?
Yeah. Okay. So I can go a million different places with this, but let's start with where you start. For people that are struggling with video, let's start there. There's a couple of reasons why I think you struggle. And I call it like the 3 C's, right? So the C number one is confidence. A lot of times we are afraid to do video because we lack the confidence. We think, I wrote something about how we all think we're Shrek, right? Like we think we sound terrible, we look terrible, all of those different things. And the reality is that our business, you cannot get away with doing business and like behind the phone, right? Like you eventually are going to meet these people, and they're eventually going to meet you. So they are eventually going to see you, hear your voice, all the different things that we, struggle with. It has nothing to do with your voice and your face or anything like that. It has everything to do with your confidence. And so how do we build confidence? I recommend creating plans around your video, right? And then part of that plan, the next C is consistency, right? Is figuring out how consistently you're going to do your business or do your videos, right, for your business. I highly recommend a weekly video to start, and build some consistency around that. And then, of course, the last piece is like coming up with content, right? And how to get creative with these things. So, which leads me to answering your actual question, Sherri.
Yep.
So when we're thinking about content, there's a couple of different ways to do this. So I recommend to people that you start with one-to-one video. A lot of times we're afraid that people are going to reject our content because when you think of it so broadly and so big. You think of doing something like this. Like this is probably the hardest thing to do is a Facebook Live video, that's, Q&A, those kinds of things. But we don't have to start here, right? You can build up to this. And so where you can start is one-to-one video. So one of the places I tell people to start is instead of doing a voicemail, leave a video, right? Start with doing videos to family and friends where there's a low rejection rate, where there's going to be a high likelihood that they'll actually watch the video and respond to it, things like that. So start there with friends and family, and start with just communicating what you would normally leave on someone's voicemail through video. And part of that, what that will do is the more you do this, the more you hit play or record in this fashion here, the more you do that, the more comfortable it will become, the more confident you will become, and the easier it will become. It's just by simply doing one-to-one videos to people you already know. Then you can graduate up to one-to-one videos with customers, right, that you're currently working with. Right. So those customer videos can include content like, obviously an introduction. Hi, I'm Kendall with RE/MAX Capital Realty, blah, 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 and just introducing yourself. Another video could be, hey, buyer, we had a home inspection yesterday. I talked to the home inspector. Here are the top 3 things I want to highlight for you in your report. Please go read it and get back to me, right, on what you decide to do. Different things like that. So you can do videos about the status update of a file. You can do, or your transaction. You can do a thank you video to your customer. Just a random, hey, I just want to take a moment, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, for hiring me, to thank you for hiring me and choosing to work with me. It's a true honor and a pleasure to serve people like you. And if there's anything else I can do to improve your experience while working with me, please don't hesitate to reach out, right? So it's like these little things that we can do and say via video that can, again, build confidence and build consistency with just being comfortable with being on camera, right? So I highly recommend just starting there if you're struggling. And then, of course, there's so many places we can take it to graduate up.
Yeah. So before you jump into those other great content videos that have great shelf lives and add value and make people, they're the ones that are like, how do I do video? I love this. It's so simple, everybody. We have all these people saying hello. You just do one-to-one from your phone.
Yeah.
I mean, you can use a BombBomb format if you want. You don't have to. I love BombBomb. We all do. Yeah. You can just use your iPhone and make a voicemail video. It was so great to meet you. Hey, it's Sherri. I'm just checking in. I'm so glad we met at my open house today. Look for an email from me. I mean, these are the types of one-to-one. So if you're taking notes, it's just one-to-one direct to, if you want to start with clients, great. If you want to start with your family members and get comfortable with that, I think that's a really great idea. And it's really kind of easy if you look at it just as what you would normally say to somebody anyway on a voicemail. Like, this is just brilliant,
It's just a great way, in my experience, to just get started, right? So I find a lot of people have a hard time just getting started. And there's a couple of other tips I would give you when getting started. And building confidence. One of the biggest things that I struggled with when I first started doing video was what to say. Right. And so when I was trying to determine what to say, because I'm a planner, naturally, that's just my nature. I'm really terrible at being super spontaneous. Right. I'm a planner. That's my nature. So what did I do? I started thinking about, okay, well, I want to write out a script for my video content. Right. And so some people are really good at I call it riffing, right? You riff or you script. And, I think that when you are a great rifter, like you can just go off the cuff and just pick a topic and just start talking about it. That's really great, but that's not most of us, right? But even those people, I recommend that you have a plan, you have an outline of kind of your bullet points of what you want to say, so you don't ramble. That was always my fear, is that I would start rambling and I would get a lot of ums, right? Because we all do that. Yeah. So I wanted cleaner video content. So I started scripting, and a suggestion that was made to me by my manager, Shad, shout out to Shad, because he changed my life with this and allowed me to be more confident with my videos, he introduced me to an app that allowed me to record videos like a teleprompter. So I could write out my script and then record my videos from my phone with a rolling script that I could read and read along to help keep me confident, help keep me moving along with the content, and help keep me from rambling and things like that. And so I did share that with you, Sherri, if you want to share in the group. It's called Big View. Big, BIGVU is the name of the app. I will tell you guys, technically it's an affiliate link. You don't have to use it. You just save money if you do. But that app changed my life. And I mean, in terms of doing my videos, it totally helped me to level up my video game. And it does so many other things as well that were really useful, I think, in doing videos, especially like the biggest thing for me is closed captioning. I loved I believe in closed captioning on videos, right? Especially if you're going to post to social media and things like that, because they say 85%, I believe, of videos are watched with the sound off. And so closed captioning, it allows people to still engage and watch your videos without having to disrupt their day, because maybe they're in the line at their grocery store, or they're in bed. Like I would watch videos late at night or early in the morning while my husband's sleeping. Well, of course, I'm not going to play the sound, but I'll watch a video and read along and still be able to get the content that's being delivered to me. So that was a big, huge game changer for me. So if you're someone like me who's a planner, who likes to know what they're going to say, invest in a teleprompter. That'll change your life.
And then our producer is going to put that on. Zach just needs it again. It's the link that she sent us that has the word view in it. I think it's the first link in her email to us. So we'll post that into the comments. And, I'm totally, I'm worse if I have a script. So I am that grifter person that just starts talking, and I'll make, you can put bullet points on one of these,
Right.
and just have it on your computer right in front of the camera. And,
Absolutely.
the bullet points help. It's really about, you said it, creating confidence, having consistency, and then worrying about the content. And I think that teleprompter is great. And no one knows you have this teleprompter. You're reading it. It's fantastic. You can speed it up, slow it down. I only use those when I absolutely have to, but it is such a great tip for today. Check it out. Get this one or get another one.
Yeah.
They go right
There's a
there.
bunch.
Yeah, you type it
Yeah.
out. It goes right onto your app, and it's great. We do have a question. I don't want to miss this question. For those video instead of voicemail videos, what platform do you use?
So I use Big View for that. That's a great question, Amanda. I use Big View for that because Big View allows you to send it as a link. So for BombBomb users, BombBomb is great, I think, for one-to-one videos. It's a great tool. Big View is something you can use in lieu of BombBomb though, and it's a lot less expensive. Like I think for Big View for a whole year on that app, it's just over around $100. I know BombBomb's closer to $1,000 a year or something like that. But BombBomb has a lot of great, I'm not trying to discount BombBomb. It has a lot of great tools within it, a lot of assistance, but hi Evelyn, oh yay. But yeah, but I definitely want to encourage you guys to get an app or a program, because you're right, when you try to natively send videos through your text messages like you would a picture, sometimes the content load is just too great. And so what's nice about things like BombBomb and video is they can share that a lot easier, but Big View will work really, really well for that.
And we have another question from Don. How long is your typical one-to-one video?
That's a great question. I think it has 100% to do with what the message you're trying to deliver. So it can be as short as 15 seconds, like, hey, a quick answer to a question that a customer may ask you, or it could be as long as 60 seconds. I definitely wouldn't do a ton of one-to-one videos that are greater than 60 seconds. You can deliver a lot of information in 1 minute. Yeah. So I would encourage that, because otherwise people may not stay engaged long enough to watch the whole thing. And because again, you're interrupting their pattern, right? Sending that text, no one is sitting on their phone waiting for you to text them or to share a video or send them a video, right? When we go to platforms like Facebook and YouTube, that is where they're expecting to engage a bit longer content. They're there for a purpose, especially on YouTube. You can definitely go a lot longer with your content because people are there specifically to watch your video and to learn from you.
And that's great. And, I think budget-wise, there are some really great products out there. Some will tell you how many times someone has watched a video. Some, if you don't need that and you're more budget constricted and you're starting out, go with a one that fits your budget.
Yeah.
But it is so great. Some of them, they have a moving thumbnail, or there's, a way to create a better thumbnail when they receive it. So it's not just some weird, stopped position of your face, which always can be weird and awkward. You know what I mean? It's just like crazy. But
Yeah.
I will say this, if starting today, if you're listening to this now or in the future as a podcast listener, make a list of ways you can implement video. And the very first and easiest way is this one-to-one concept of talking to your existing clients. And I wanted to touch on the fact that if you are going past a minute, like I remember in TV, like talking for a minute is long. They're like, drag it out, and talk slower. And so if it's past a minute, that's probably time to meet with them face to face on a Zoom call or in person. But remember, what you're doing is you are constantly having your entire awesome personality and excitement and enthusiasm about whatever it is you're sending them or telling them sent to them via video. So I think there's huge value in that. Just like I always say, we're best when we're face to face. And this video is going to just be a great, like, oh, look, I just got a video. And turning on the closed caption, absolute must, because again, people could be wherever they are and they don't expect your sound, to come on and everything. Yeah, I'm so glad you said 85% are watching it and listening to it in non-volume mode, meaning the volume is turned off and they're reading it. We all do this. All of us are doing this. And separating the difference between one-to-one and when you post things on YouTube or Facebook, they are looking for and expecting that scrolling video that they're going to see.
Yeah.
So anything else to add to that before I go? I think we have.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for letting me, so two things I want to add to that, Sherri, what you just mentioned. When you're closed captioning is particularly important on the social portals like your Facebook and your Instagram. And the reason why is because when we go to YouTube, we are expecting to see a video and watch and engage with video. People don't go to YouTube to watch a video expecting to watch it with the sound off. Like they're going there specifically to that. With Facebook, because it's a multimedia channel and Instagram's a multimedia channel, right? It is a scrolling platform. You want to stop the scroll. And the problem with the scroll is that if your video cannot meet the expectations or needs of that customer or that person watching, i.e., they can watch it with the sound off, guess what happens? They keep scrolling. It's not designed for them to then be retargeted by that video again. If they keep scrolling, Facebook then moves on. Right? So if you've got to stop the scroll, if you want Facebook to continue to put your content in front of people. And again, one of the ways you grow the likelihood of them stopping their scroll is by having content that they can engage with in whatever manner that they have available at that time, whether it is actually listening to it or reading it and watching. So that's super important. Now, the other piece to that is digital door knocking. So you mentioned face-to-face. So this is something I learned this from one of my buddies, Michael Thorne. He coined this concept called digital door knocking that I just think and love and had to tell everybody about it. Okay. And so he uses video as a digital door knock. And let's talk about door knocking versus digital door knocking. You know, when we go to physically door knock, which is the sales tactic that so many real estate professionals have used over the decades, we're doing that at a time that's convenient for us, right? Meaning we're going there when they're home from work, hopefully, right? But oftentimes interrupting dinner or their evening, whatever their evening involves. And so they're not expecting us, right? They didn't ask for us to come to their door. We're just doing it because this is what we've been taught is the right thing to do in order to get engagement and get new customers. And if you were to spend 1 hour door knocking, I don't know, how many homes do you think we could door knock? I'm going to make up a number because it doesn't matter. I'm going to say 50 doors. Okay. We all know you're probably not going to knock 50 doors in an hour. But let's just say it's 50, right? That means you're not talking to anyone. Okay. Honestly, but you're going to knock 50 doors in 1 hour.
Right.
When you take your digital, or when you take your door knocking digital, meaning you're creating content and videos that are knocking on people's door of interest. Like, hey, my name is Kendall. I'm a real estate professional, and I've got information that you need and that you want to know. How many people do you think we can get watching our video in an hour? Number one, it's playing 24/7, right? So you can reach people in this time zone and others. So you can scale, right, at a massive level. And not only that, you can get people, thousands of people watching at any 1 minute, at any one time. So the exponential effect of digital door knocking versus physical door knocking, is using this digital space as a way to grow your business. It's massive and a massive return on investment, right? So those are some of the things and just quick points about how powerful video is that I just wanted to make sure we addressed and made real quick before we move forward.
Absolutely. And I have 2 comments on this, but digital door knocking, I love. And who was the person who said that?
Michael Thorne.
Michael. And
he'll be a great interview, by the way. You should.
I
did a podcast with him. It was amazing.
The 2 things I want to comment on is that you are prospecting thousands of people at once. So the scalability of your efforts, right? How many calls can I make in an hour? How many actual doors can I knock on? But when I do video, I've now scaled my message. I could prospect 1,500 people in 5 minutes or a day or an hour or thousands of people as well. And the second thing I want to say is in an area, back years ago, I've been licensed 26 years. So I remember thinking, should I do TV commercials? Agents were doing TV commercials and it was, at billboards and how expensive that was. And when we think about what ad agencies and companies spend, right? Even let's say for the Super Bowl ad or for any Sunday prime time, people were spending and still do millions of dollars to get their message in front of people. And so we have this opportunity, very unique opportunity to do that for free. And we aren't taking advantage of it. And it's scalability and the fact that, I'd rather send my message that I would say to somebody on the phone, say it on a video and email it to my sphere, send it on a text, post it on social, post it in a Facebook group that I have for my friends and family. And boom, I have just connected with 400, 600, 1,000 people that I know. And the ones we don't know, same thing, thousands. So I want to just point out that that is a big, it's so much bigger than we think about when we think about posting on social media is the reach and the scalability. So I'm glad you really went into that. I love how you said, stop the scroll.
Yes.
That's, to stop the scroll.
Yes.
And especially if I get one that's not turned off, I'm like sort of annoyed, right? I'm like, ugh, get the thing that turns this off. That's what I think. Like, why are you, you know what I mean? And so it's so cool. So I would love to hear. So there are videos that can be done, YouTube channel. Maybe I do a video about my community. We sell communities. I heard you say that at the beginning where we really are an ambassador for the communities that we serve and work, live, and play in. And so if I do a video about my community or schools or the community at large, then maybe it's about the arts and entertainment. how can I use that video to really maximize Google and other things?
So, well, gosh, so much to say there. I would recommend, okay, let me actually, and I'm going to answer your question by backing up a little bit to move forward. Because I
Sure.
also see some questions in the chat that I think kind of all incorporate together
Sure.
with this. So, when you're creating content, right? Because, we've moved on past the one-to-one content, right? Because those are usually very specific pieces where you're going to call someone out by name. We're going to move to the next level of content, which is the type of content you would use for digital door knocking, the type of content you would put on social media, the type of content you might post to a YouTube channel, right? And so this is a bit longer content. This is going to be content I would recommend. It's anywhere from 3 minutes and longer. And so we have this term that I'm going to give credit to yet another wonderful human being, Ginger Bell. She taught me this concept of edu marketing. And this is marketing through education, right? Because nobody likes to hear you self-promote and say, hi, I'm Kendall. I'm the best realtor ever, and you should hire me, right? Like, no one wants that, right? You don't want to do that content, and trust me, no one wants to watch it, right? So
Exactly.
the type of content we're going to do is content that's going to help our customers either, learn something they didn't know. You're going to share with them information that will help them, things like that. You're going to educate them, and that's going to be a part of your marketing strategy, right? So it's these two terms coined together as edu marketing. So edu marketing might be content about, like I just recorded a video that I'm going to be posting next week on closing costs. What's the real cost of buying a home, right? And I'm talking to them about, okay, yes, you have your down payment, but you also have, your closing costs. And then not only that, you have out-of-pocket expenses as well. That might include your home inspection, your appraisal, your survey, things like that, right? But that's content that customers even if they bought a home before, sometimes they don't always remember, right? I mean, remember, most customers are not buying houses every single year. So there's large gaps of time in between these transactions. There's also people that to this day, no one in their family's ever owned a home. So they don't even have family they can go to about information about these things, right? So we have to become that resource. We have to become that authority. We have people moving to Tampa, relocating here daily. They want to know, like, what are the areas like in Tampa? I don't even know what it's like. What is there to do? Where are the restaurants? Where are the communities? What am I looking for? Do you offer it? Right? So these are opportunities for us to share and showcase our communities, our homes, our neighborhoods, our restaurants, our local businesses, things like that. And so then you can create this content and then put this on your platforms. So, I recommend I recommend picking one platform to start. And I would recommend, if you're going to start in one of two places, Facebook or YouTube is where you start. And then eventually I think you should be multi-channel. And then not only that, are you going to post this content to those platforms, but you're also then going to email that content out, right? So I've been coached to take a thumbnail of a picture, put it in an email, and then link it out to my Facebook page or link it out to my YouTube channel. And so when someone clicks into it, it's not an organic native video. It is a video linked to one of my profiles. Right. What's the beauty of this is that if you do then go, because you can promote your videos organically or you can do paid promotions, right? But what's nice about doing that is then once Facebook recognizes, hey, this person watched your video on Facebook, they don't care that it was emailed to them and direct linked or versus them scrolling or however they got to your video, right? The fact that they stopped and watched it, Facebook's paying attention. The algorithm is paying attention. And so it's going to, as you promote and pay for your videos to be in front of people, it's going to also put it back in front of that audience as well, right? Because they want to help you create a community and an audience of people who are interested in your content, right? So if that kind of helps answer some of the questions that you guys are having, and then you can do the same thing with YouTube as well, right? You're building an audience by bringing people back to the platform in which you're posting and promoting that content. So those would be some of my tips there. And then, also Google crawls your videos for keywords. So if you've not invested in understanding keywords, or the type of questions that people are asking online, that is something I would highly recommend that you do, because that will feed your content. So Google does this cool free thing. When you go into Google and you type a question, have you ever done this? And then it finishes the question for you and it gives you like 16 options. Well, guess what, guys? That's because Google has determined this is the most common thing that people are asking. And so they're assuming you're asking the same question, right? So that'll give you Google keyword phrases and Google searches that other people are asking. There's also a website called answerthepublic.com. That is an accumulation of all the questions that people are asking online about a million different topics. Like if you were to even just put in there keto, right? It'll give you all the who, what, when, where, why, hows of questions people are asking about keto diet, right? Things like that. And you can put real estate. You can also invest in a keyword finder or keyword search tool. Those cost a little bit of money, but they can be worth it because they also will help you determine what are the words, the phrases that people are looking at. And then whether you do a blog or a video, Google will help direct people to your content because it's the type of content that people are searching online. So that's just some of those, that's a higher level, right? I mean, I'm always going to teach you guys how to improve your hustle and level up. Those are my hashtags that I live by on my videos and stuff like that. But those kinds of things are like where you can take your content to the next level in making sure it gets engaged with.
And I love this. And you are so knowledgeable. Thank you for that comment. We have a couple questions about like, what is a sample of digital door knocking? So what would the content be if that were to be something that's out there? You made a comment about closing costs. So what would some other examples be for that kind of content that we're putting out on social?
Yeah. So I think, testimonials are good digital door knocks and storytelling. So stop promoting the fact that we sold this house in 2 days. Let's start telling the story behind the sale. Because what we're doing is we're saying the wrong message, in my opinion, when we tell people, we tell consumers like, oh, I sold that house in 2 days. What we're telling them is, hey, houses are selling themselves and they don't need to hire us. We're also telling them that we're not working that hard because it happened so quickly. We all know that's not true. But the consumer doesn't understand every piece of the puzzle that we are putting together and managing as real estate professionals. And they may not ever truly understand it. So it's important for us to teach them, to educate them, right? So let's tell the story behind the sale. Like, oh, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, they're relocating to another state, blah, 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 blah. They had a strict timeline. I coached them on how to appropriately price their home so they would go to market. And then I appropriately marketed it so that it was found by the right person at the right time so we can meet their deadline. Like that's how I would sell that video and that story, right? So that is something to me that's a slightly different twist on what we're doing that you could do. So testimonials is one. Another type of video, I love FOMO videos, so fear of missing out. And so these are like your list, your tips, your top 10 reasons to work with a real estate professional, right? The 3 things every seller needs to know before they list their home for sale. These 5 negotiation strategies that you have to know and your realtor has to use when negotiating to buy your next home. So it's like you come up with some ideas, and I'm telling you guys, you already know this content. You already know the answers. You could do FAQ videos. You can do interview videos. I love interviews. Like get your home inspector, get your lender, get your appraiser, get your stager, talk to a lawyer, talk to, an accountant about, the value of homestead. I don't know, or, just anything. And you ask them questions, and then you can turn that both into long form and short form content, right? Mm-hmm. So you can repurpose one video into multiple videos or multiple pieces of content by saying, okay, here's my 30-minute video interview with the home inspector, but I asked him 10 questions. And so now I've got 10 little mini videos that I could just have the question and have the 2-minute response that the the inspector gave. And then now that's in my stories, and that's going on my Facebook page. And, I'm creating an album, in my Facebook, on my Facebook page, and storing all of this. So there's all these different things that you can do with that one piece of content. You can then write a blog about it if you wanted, so that those people that want to read can still get what they need. Those people, you can do a podcast about it. So those people that are in the car listening, they can hear it. So you can do a lot with just one piece of content if you can expand your mind about it just a little bit.
The repurposing of that and having the mini versions of those to be used out in, the reels and shorter clips. You could do, I love all of these, how to choose a realtor, the 5 things to have when finding a realtor. Explain the steps in the home buying process or the home selling process. These are all great content to work with. Yeah. I'm sure everyone is just literally blown away, as I know they are, because this has just been such a great interview. Thank you. There was one on here. What is the app or place you can go to pay for SEO keywords?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different ones. KW Finder is one I know for sure. If you Google keyword finder or keyword search, you'll get like a bunch of different tools that you can utilize. I think I have 2 that I use. I know one's keyword finder. I can't remember what the other one is off the top of my head, but later I will come put it in the comments, because if I just do a quick search, I'll have it.
Also, quick question about Big View. Does it track opens?
It does.
Okay.
It does.
Excellent. And we answered that question. And yes, Kendall is a rock star. Thank you, Margaret. I 100% agree. What about video editors? Is there, how do we use them? What's the deal with these video editors, and what do they need to know?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different editors out there. So the first one I learned on, which about 50% of your audience has, which is iMovie. If you're an iPhone user, you have a free video editing software on your phone automatically. iMovie is super easy to use. And that was where I first learned how to do that. And so I highly recommend that one. If you're an Android, some other ones I have, and you can use these also if you are Apple as well, but there's Clips, InShot, Videorama, KineMaster, and that's with a K, Kine. I think Master, I think is the name of it. But some of my favorites are definitely iMovie. Another one that I love is InShot. Those are probably my 2 favorite ones, because I can do the most just with those 2. What I liked about Big View, for example, too, is because of the teleprompting, I found I had to edit less because I was scripting my content. And even with the script, don't be afraid of a script, guys, because the script, you don't have to read verbatim, right? I use the script now when I use it just to keep me organized and on topic, right? So I don't ramble. And so I still riff, I still ad lib, I still say what I want to say and communicate. And I still put in my pauses and my laughs, and I leave in a lot of my bloopers on purpose. I was saying, I have a photo I did where I said, my imperfection is my connection, right? So we don't feel like you have to be perfect all the time. It is okay. That's part of what makes us human. That's what makes us relatable. Right. That's what makes it fun. I also did, I think on the first year anniversary of my #WinsDay videos, I did a blooper reel. Literally, people watched it and laughed out loud because it was me and all my blah, blah, blahs and the dog coming in the middle of me filming a video. And it was fun for me to create, because it just reminded me of how far I've come. But it also made me relatable, It's like, hey, that could happen to you too. It happened to me. Like, don't think I'm perfect on video. I'm not. And, it just is what it is. And you just have fun.
And I think actually the more less, the more it's not perfect, this doesn't have to be in a studio. We're talking about get a tripod stand, put your cell phone on it,
Yep.
use the camera buy a Logitech high def camera, for $100 or something. And it is just you talking. And like you said, it is about authenticity,
Yeah.
your genuine self, your personality, just like you would be if you were talking in front of these people, and I love that the blooper reel, my team did that to me. Mine probably had more cuss words in it, not quite said, but I'm about to swear, right? So that was a lot of fun. And it was funny because they use this really funny music, and it
Yep.
made it even actually more funnier, it's hysterical. Hashtag Wednesday. Is that a hashtag Wednesday video day, or tell us about
Yeah.
hashtag Wednesday?
So hashtag Wednesdays, and that's WINS, right? For winning the day, was something I came up with to help brand the video content that I was putting out every week. A lot of my content was directed at people like us in the industry, right? So the realtors, lenders, small business owners, things like that. People who are looking to learn more about running a business, running a real estate business, et cetera, et cetera. So
Okay.
it was my weekly video series that I had committed to doing every week to kind of share the things that I was learning, that I wanted to share and teach others. I had this model: I learn, I test, I teach. So I like to learn new things, I test it, I make sure it works, and then I like to share what I've learned and teach others. And hashtag Wednesdays was an opportunity for me to share and have a platform for that. And it's been a lot of fun to do. Labor of love.
Can you spell it again? Is it Wednesdays, right?
WINSDAYS.
I
So
love it.
Wednesdays.
Wednesdays. And
Yes.
that is, that's every Wednesday, right?
Yeah. I was
Wednesdays.
posting that out every Wednesday morning, and I was doing it organically.
Uh-huh.
I did not put money. I was not marketing these videos. It was just
I was gonna
I would share. I would post it to my personal page, and then I would share it into certain groups of audiences that I thought would be interested in that topic or in those tips and tricks. And organically, I ended up getting quite a bit of following, and again, which led to me going places and being places and people recognizing me and or feeling like they knew me already, and wanting to deeper connect those relationships. Because that was the other thing. I believe in social media and video in particular as an opportunity to, I call it deepening digital relationships. And so those two things, deepening digital relationships plus digital door knocking, kind of married together through video, is how I was able to grow an organic audience, for people who wanted to learn and improve with their business. And it wasn't just about video; it was always about other things. But I use video as a medium to share what I had learned with others.
It's it's so it's so awesome you have taken this topic. I know I'm going to ask Zach to post the Inman link that
Thank you.
viewers can go read your articles.
Yeah.
We have that, and I'll make sure it gets posted here. Inman, direct link right into all of Kendall's articles that she writes for Inman on lots of other topics that pertain to what we're doing here now and talking about, but also other ways that you can level up and get these types of tools working for you and expanding your business. I think it's amazing because really what you've just taught us today is that there are ways to get started. There are ways to increase your confidence.
Yeah.
There are ways to be educationally, edu marketing. And I love that term as well. And I've always done what I used to call value add marketing. It was value add marketing to me is the same as this educational marketing where we're adding value. It's not about selling the house. It's adding value about other topics that then people look to you as that ambassador and that person who knows everything, and there were just so many things today. I would love to have you back. Will you come back?
Oh, that's so nice. Yes, yes, yes.
And maybe we'll do it live from Florida, and I'll be, in your office, and we can shoot it there, and we can be in person, since, I am really so glad I not only get to met you, but we've become, really good friends now, and you're part of our fan club here, and we're thrilled to have you as a resource. If you want to connect with Kendall, how can folks find you on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. So Improve Your Hustle on Instagram, Improve Your Hustle on Facebook, Improve Your Hustle on YouTube. I have an Improve Your Hustle podcast. So those are all the places you can find me. And then, of course, my personal profile on Facebook is Kendall Bonner.
Well, I love the Improve Your Hustle line. I'm taking that one with me, as well as digital door knocking. Gang, if you're listening today, implement what we just talked about. It's great to have great speakers and people we interview, and we get these people from all over the country, and they're the top leading experts on these topics, but it doesn't do anything if you don't put it into practice. So I urge you to jump in the deep end with us. Start doing the video. I promise you, you will love it. I have an $80 million agent that didn't want to do video, literally cursed me out on, we interviewed her actually on here, and she cursed me out, and she said, do I really have to do this? And I said, yes. And she was doing about 50 at the time, or 55 million. And she did a weekly video. She said, fine. And the text I sent her was, done is better than perfect.
Yep.
And she said, fine. And so she, fine, nasty, right? And she went out, did the video every single week. Everyone loves the video. Everyone counts on the video. And she's taken the famous level to a whole new level. They ended up closing $80 million, increased $30 million in 1 year. So think about this. Use this tool. It is the single most powerful marketing tool that I believe you have to communicate what you do and differentiate yourself and your services, and improve your hustle. I love that. I love that you were able to share your time with us today. And I guarantee you, everybody's on here thinking, don't let this end. I'm going to have Kendall back on, I promise. And Kendall, you keep rocking it, because you literally are just so inspiring. And so many people today got so much. I can't thank you enough. So thanks again for being here.
Yes. And again, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure to be here. I love talking about stuff like this. And if you feel overwhelmed by all the things that Sherri and I talked about, I promise you, I do have micro videos and articles about this stuff that can help break it down for you and give you something small each day to work on your business. But yes, please, the highest privilege and honor you can give Sherri and I is going to take action on what you learned from us and from others that she's had on here. And, you'll get the best ROI out of your business by doing that. So
that's right. And go on to Inman. We'll make sure we put that in the link here. Just texted Zach to do that. And you know what? Do the video. I promise you, you'll love the results. You'll be real estate famous. I hate to say it that way, but people will be engaging with you. You will be thrilled with the same effect of people recognizing you wherever you go. And it's wonderful stuff. And again, we're privileged to have you. Comments are just keep coming in, thanking you and thanking what a rock star you are. So remember to send all your referrals in Tampa to Kendall Bonner at Capital Realty. She has 50 great agents that'll take care of you. Check her out on Inman and Improve Your Hustle all over the internet. Kendall, my pleasure. Big, huge hugs to you and your talent. And you're just a wealth of knowledge and wisdom. And I just love the energy you share. It's contagious. And everybody go download You Rock with Sherri Johnson, a real estate podcast. This interview will be featured on our podcast as well as at our sherrijohnson.com and on YouTube. So if you want to watch it again, I would encourage that, just to download all this information and sort of listen to it twice. Everybody have a wonderful rest of your Friday and a great listing and sales week, successful weekend. And I'm Sherri Johnson. You rock. I'll see you guys all next week. Thanks so much again, Kendall. I'll see you soon in Florida. Okay.
Yes.
Sounds
Bye,
good.
guys.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.